All right, for my ukulele chords this week, I am going to review the stuff that I went over last week, which was our C chord and our F chord. And then I'm also going to review two other chords that you already know. I'm going to move my camera a little bit so you can see better. So here are the basics. Remember that whether you are left-handed or right-handed, the head of the instrument is going in your left hand or near your left hand. When I look down at my instrument, all I want to see is the body, the side of the body. I never want to look down and see the face of my instrument, right? And then you have two places. Either you can hold it against you like this and kind of support it in the crook of your arm, or you can let the corner of the body rest on your leg. And as I mentioned in my last video, it's kind of hit or miss for me. It depends on what I'm playing and how difficult it is, where my instrument is. Sometimes I'm way up here, sometimes I let it rest. Just kind of depends on whatever is most comfortable for you, okay? And then remember that we're going to use our right hand pointer finger, fingernail side, to strum down very gently, just a little above the sound hole of the instrument. Remember, this is kind of our sweet spot right at the bottom of the fretboard here, okay? So first I'm just going to review with you the two chords that I reviewed last week. So we learned our C major chord. Remember, C major is with finger number 3, so we don't count our thumb. So 1, 2, 3. My ring finger is going to my 3rd fret all the way down to the bottom string. And that is my C chord. And remember, I usually have you test your chord by very gently pulling each of your strings, making sure each one makes a sound before you play the whole chord. Last week we also talked about F chord, so I'm going to take my middle finger on the 2nd fret, top string closest to my face, and then my pointer finger on this 1st fret. I'm going to count down 3 strings, 1, 2, 3, and this is my F chord. I'm going to test it out. And each one is making a sound, so I'll go ahead and play it with that pointer finger strum, right? Nail side of my pointer finger, nice and easy. It shouldn't hurt at all because you barely have to use any pressure, okay? Now, what might be hurting a little bit are your fingers on your left hand, especially for the F chord, because the closer we get to the top of the instrument, the tighter the strings are and the harder you have to push. So F does get a little bit tricky sometimes, especially that pointer finger to push down real hard, okay? So today I'm going to show you a kind of a chord that goes in between the C chord and the F chord. It will help you get from one to the other. And then I'm also going to show you a G chord, which is the last chord that you guys learned before we went to distance learning. Is also one of the trickiest chords. It's probably the hardest chord that we've learned so far. So it's a little bit trickier. It requires 3 fingers. So I'm going to start off, I'm going to go back to my C chord actually. So remember my ring finger of my left hand, 3rd fret, way down on that bottom string. And that's my C chord. I'm going to take my middle finger to that 2nd fret all the way to the string way up at the top, and I'm going to pick up my ring finger. This is my A minor chord. You'll also realize it's half of our F chord, right? So A minor, test out all your strings. If they're all making a sound, I got ahead of myself. If they're all making a sound, strum your chord using that pointer finger nice and easy in that sweet spot. So I can go back and forth now from C and A minor. Okay, and that's good practice. And then to go to F from A minor, all I have to do is put my pointer finger where it belongs. So I'm going to find that 1st fret. I'm going to count down 3 strings. And there's my F chord. So now I can start practicing C and A minor and adding that finger for F. So it's a natural, your fingers kind of go right where they're supposed to, okay? Now, my G chord is this super tricky chord because we're going to be kind of stacking our fingers on top of each other. So I'm going to do my best job to show you this in the video, and then just like I did last week, I will put in the Facebook post with the video the chord diagrams, okay? So I'm going to start with my pointer finger. I'm going to find my 2nd fret. I'm going to count down to the 2nd string. It's the fattest of the 4 strings, okay? Try to get that a little closer so you can see. Then I'm going to take my next finger, which is my middle finger. On the same fret where my pointer finger is, I'm going to skip over the next string and come all the way down to the bottom string. So I have 2 fingers kind of making a line right here, okay? So not the top string, but the next one, and then skip over the one underneath that and go. So we're kind of making a pattern too. Then I'm gonna find, this string that I skipped over right here, right? But I'm gonna move down 1 more fret to my 3rd fret, and that's where my ring finger is gonna live. So if you look at it upside down like this, if I connected those dots, I'd have a triangle, okay? And this is my G chord. It's a really tricky chord, trying to smush all your fingers up in there and make sure that they're not touching any other strings. That's the hardest part. So I'm gonna check my fingertips. I'm gonna make sure that I'm playing with the very tip of my finger way up here. So if I take my fingers off and hold them up to the camera, you'll be able to see where those like lines are, where the strings were. Okay, right on the tippy top of my finger, okay? So G, I'm gonna try all my strings, and they're all making a sound, so I'm gonna go ahead and try playing that chord right in my sweet spot, pointer finger. Sounds pretty good, okay? If I have an issue like this, where, oh no, one of my strings isn't making a sound, usually that means, usually means I'm not pushing hard enough, so I gotta push down a little bit harder, okay? All right, so we're gonna practice going from our C chord to our A minor chord to our F chord by adding a pointer finger. And then we gotta go from F to that crazy G chord, which means I have to move 3 fingers real quick, okay? C to A minor to F to G, okay? Back to C again, all right? So next week, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you one more very, very easy chord. It is maybe like the easiest of all of the chords. And then we're gonna start to put a play along together. And so we're gonna be, I'm gonna be working on this week, hopefully. My goal is to get like a play along video going. And if I can't do that, then I will figure out something different. But we are going to the following week. Sorry, I'm a week ahead of myself. No, I lied to you. Next week, I'm going to teach you one more very, very easy chord. And then the week after that, I'm going to teach you the actual easiest chord because it doesn't have any fingers. It's really, really easy. And then I'm going to teach you, we're going to do a play-along video to Fight Song, okay? So that's what we're working towards, all right? If you have questions about this, remember that you can always send me an email or a Google Hangout or comment right on the post. That works too. I check those, as often as I can. And I would always be happy to get on Google Hangouts and do a face-to-face. If you're working on ukulele stuff and you're struggling, sometimes it's hard to not have it be in real time. So if you need that, let me know, and we'll keep plowing along with uke stuff, all right?